Barack and Michelle Obama had planned to meet with Rob and Michele Reiner the same day the Hollywood couple were allegedly murdered by their son. The former First Lady appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live and spoke about the plans and how she and the former president had been friends with the Reiners for many years. Here with more is The Hill's deputy managing editor, Sarakshi Rai. Hi, Sarakshi. So the Obamas said they were heartbroken about this news. How did Michelle Obama react to President Trump's statement regarding Reiner's death?
That's right. Michelle Obama made an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live late on Monday after the murders, and she said that her husband, former President Barack Obama, and her had planned to see Rob Reiner and his wife, Michele Reiner, on the day that they were found dead in their Los Angeles home. Now, we know that, the Reiners have been friends with the Obamas for a very long time. And Michelle said that, Rob and Michelle are some of the most decent, courageous people you would ever want to know. She also hit out at President Trump's statement saying that they're not deranged or crazed. Now, let's not forget, President Trump has posted on Truth Social and told reporters earlier Monday that, Mr. Reiner was a deranged person. And Michelle Obama kind of refuted that and added that, they were the kind of people who were really ready to put their actions behind what they cared about. And what they cared about was their family, and they cared about this country, is what she said. So really going on the defense there for the Reiners after President Trump's statement.
Yeah, Barack and Michelle Obama have been connected to Hollywood for years. How deep is their relationship with Rob and his wife?
That's right. We know that they've been friends for years, but also let's not forget that alongside his Hollywood credits, Rob Reiner was a longtime activist with very close ties to the Democratic Party. He championed same-sex marriage and was a vocal critic of the Trump administration. We also know that prominent Democrats, including Barack Obama, former Vice President Kamala Harris, have all paid tribute to him. Obama said that he and Michelle were heartbroken by the news. We also heard from former Vice President Kamala Harris, who said that Reiner fought for America's democracy. Former Speaker Nancy Pelosi called him remarkable and excellent in everything he pursued. And we do know that Rob Reiner often held fundraisers and campaigned for democratic issues. We know in 2008, he co-founded the American Foundation for Equal Rights, which challenged California's ban on same-sex marriage. We also know that in 1998, as chair of the campaign for the state's Proposition 10, which led to the creation of the First Five initiative, Rob Reiner really advocated for funding early childhood development services with a tax on tobacco products. He also was a sharp critic of President Donald Trump, and he's accused the president of treason and being mentally unfit to serve in the office. So his ties to the Democratic Party go a long way back, and we do know that he was pretty vocal in his criticism of President Trump, but also his ties to the Democratic Party were deep and long-lasting, Drew.
Yeah, after the deaths were reported, President Trump criticized Rob Reiner on social media, blaming his political opposition to Trump for his death. Trump now standing by that post. Take a listen.
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. It was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise.
You have Republicans like Representative Thomas Massie, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Mike Lawler coming out condemning Trump's post. How much fracturing inside the Republican Party are we seeing over the president's response here?
Look, we are seeing that some Republicans are pushing back against President Donald Trump after he, called Rob Reiner's death as, a deranged, a result of the anger he's caused others because of the Trump derangement syndrome. We know that some Republicans who are regular Trump critics, as well as those that serve in battleground states, have come out and said that, this is kind of unacceptable. And it was like, regardless of how you felt about Rob Reiner, it wasn't appropriate. And disrespectful discourse about a man who was just brutally murdered. And that's from a Trump critic, Thomas Massie, who is a Kentucky lawmaker. We also heard saying from, the elected GOP colleagues, the VP White House staff will just ignore it. We are hearing from a lot of Republicans about this, but we know that, people like Speaker Mike Johnson, when asked about Trump's post on Reiner's death, basically talked to a larger group of reporters and didn't really comment. He didn't specifically address Trump's comments, but called it shocking news. So, the establishment is kind of sticking by the president, but we do know that his remarks have not really sat well with some Republicans, and they are questioning why the president had to issue a statement at all. We know, Republican John Bacon has also said that probably the president shouldn't have commented at all. And so that's the question that Republicans are grappling with.
Do you think this controversy has any staying power, or will it fade away like so many of these other controversies involving President Trump's words and actions?
Look, the president is unpredictable, and we do know that no day is the same in the Trump administration. He's also the most public and most public president we've had in the last couple of decades. He is a very frequent commentator to the press and the media. He brings them into the Oval Office all the time. He has given the press access to the Oval Office, unprecedented access to the Oval Office, and is always taking questions. So essentially, you never really know what exactly the president might talk about on any given day, but we do know that his comments will continue making news because he is the president of the United States, Drew.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Sarakshi Rai, thanks so much.